What's up? My name is Devin. I also go by Infinite or Prod by Infinite. And today, come on, load up, bro. We got Omnisphere 3, bro. Now, I know what this looks like. It looks like a sponsored post. This is not sponsored. I'm just excited. Because, bro, like, Omnisphere 2 was just such, like, an integral part of, like, music producer culture. You know what I mean? It was, like, the top dog VST for the longest time. Like, basically, ever since I've been making music, I've always have known, like, Omnisphere 2 is, like, the holy grail of VSTs. Then they dropped number 3. And, like, if you looked at the video where they're showcasing all that stuff, it looked kind of crazy. So I'm like, yeah, I need that expeditiously right now. So today I'm going to show y'all how I made a GNX type beat with Omnisphere 3. So the first thing I did was go to a lower BPM than what I wanted the beat at. The final beat is at 102 BPM, but I made the sample in 60. And that's because with the GNX vibes, there's a lot of samples. I wanted to make something that sounded like a sample. And usually with samples, you like speed them up, pitch them down, stuff like that. So starting at a lower BPM is sauce for getting a sample type feel. All right, so boom, first preset, the cello quartet illusion. You know what's crazy? I'm pretty sure that's no effects. Yeah, no effects on that. No effects on any of the melodies. It's just like literally how it sounded. Then after that, I took those chords and I layered it with a piano. Also in the scoring section. And the whole time I stayed in the scoring section because I wanted it to sound very cinematic and sample-esque, you know what I mean? So you're going for like more realistic instruments, you know what I mean? And then I just took these chords and I layered it one more time. This time it was with a choir, this choral swell. Is that even a choir? I don't know what it is, but it's this preset though. But yeah, that's for sure a choir. That's for sure a choir. Then after making that melody, I exported it, pitched it up a full octave, sped it up to 102 BPM, and then we threw it in Fruity Slicer. Now with Fruity Slicer, you can basically just chop up the sample how you want. So I was just messing with the keys. You know what I mean? And I ended up getting this right here. And it basically just repeats like that throughout the whole song. I also made a secondary chop. I mean, just to add a little bit of variation. And then after that, I just started laying down drums, bro. First thing I had to do was immediately start going to the spins, bro. And then just repeats over after that. And then in addition to that, I actually made a secondary 808 pattern for the verse, just because since we're only working with a sample that's 8 bars long, I wanted to do a couple things just to switch things up so it doesn't feel a little too stale throughout the beat. So we got this pattern right here. Then after that, just a regular clap, a hi-hat pattern. Now, if you want to get hi-hat patterns that sound like this, a really easy way to make them is to go to the 1/4 beat section for the grid and then just place them in like that and just do like parts where it's like hitting 2 times, hitting 4 times, space things out. But I'm telling you right now, if you go on that 1/4 preset right there, you're gonna have a way easier time. And then I just did like a super simple open hat pattern. I threw in this stab right here. And I threw in this rim shot just to add a little bit of bounce. Plus, it's like West Coast stuff, so I always like to add a little bit of percussion. And then lastly, For the drums, I added these stomps at the end. Always love adding stomps at the very end of the bar. I just feel like it adds such a great punctuation for the drums. And then lastly, you got this little riser just to go into everything. And just to let you know, you can find all of these drum sounds on gatekeepsounds.com. I will leave my favorite drum kit linked in the description. So if you want hard hitting drums like this with very minimal effort, if you look at all the drum sounds on the mixer track, you see that there's no effects at all. Literally just place them down, turn them up, and you're good, bro. Now I want to talk about two more things before we do get up out of here. One, the arrangement, and two, the intro. So for the arrangement, I really just did a classic 8-bar intro, 8-bar hook, and then 16-bar verse. Sometimes rappers will ask for a 12-bar verse, but if you're making beats to send out to other people or making beats to drop on like BeatStars or something like that, I would always say go for a 16-bar verse, because it's always easier to chop a part out to make it a 12-bar verse rather than trying to do something to finesse it to make it longer. You feel me? So always go 16 unless someone's specifically asking you otherwise. And then just to kind of like switch things up, I have the second sample chop playing right here, the second 808 pattern playing right here, and I also cut out some of the drums in the intro. Normally what you could do is you could just cut them out completely and then just have them start where they normally start, but I kind of like brought them in at a random point just to kind of like switch it up and make it feel a little bit more different. So if you listen to it play, randomly. And I don't know, that's just like super saucy to me. And then also a quick little trick to always like make moments in the beat for the rappers to kind of like shine is that you can cut out like all the instruments, you can cut out all the drums, you can cut out just like random stuff on the very last bar. It will always just give people an opportunity to shine, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So like if someone's rapping, they're going like you feel me? It allows like for really cool moments in the beat. And I've just noticed whenever you do it at the end of the bar, it always comes out clean. So if you just need like a reliable way to spice up your arrangement, do that trick right there, please, bro. And then after that, I really just kind of copied and pasted everything over. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about the arrangement too much after that. The only things that you should be doing is just things that you think would be cool to like spice up your own beat. But once you get the intro, hook, and then verse done, you can really just repeat it over a couple times and then you're good. Unless you want to do something cool, then obviously do that. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is the intro. All right, so I'm going to play it for y'all real quick. All right, now let me show y'all how I did that real quick. Basically, you're gonna go over to the master channel on your channel rack and you're gonna open up your favorite reverb. Mine is Valhalla Vintage. And what I personally do is I take the size down a little bit just so it doesn't feel as big. And I'll also turn up the low cut because when you're dealing with really loud 808s, you throw reverb on it, it sounds really muddy and ugly. So you just turn that little low cut up a little bit so it kind of cleans everything up. And then you're gonna right click right here and hit create automation clip. And then once you have your automation clip, you're basically just gonna draw in wherever you want it to start and stop. Me personally, I'm just gonna have it fade out after the 4 bars and that's it. In addition to that, I also did a right click on the mixer fader right here for the master and then did the create automation clip and then just faded it in so it's like kind of going in with the volume. And lastly, I right clicked on the tempo and hit create automation clip and I also faded that in. Now doing automation clips with the tempo can be really tricky because if you bring it up right here, it gives you a random BPM. So to ensure that you don't lose the BPM of your project, this is what you do. You're going to go to the point right here, you're going to right click it and you're going to hit copy value. Then you can just drag this down, up, whatever you want to do with it. And then wherever you want the BPM to end up finishing, you're going to right click right there and then you're going to right click again and hit paste value. So that way it can start from 0 and then it goes to wherever your project's original BPM is supposed to end up at. And then for this beat right here, that was like the very last thing that I did. If you want to talk about mixing and stuff like that, I just made sure that the melodies were hitting around like -9 to -12 dB. And on the master channel, I didn't do anything but add a fruity soft clipper with the default preset set on the very last mixer channel. And if you're wondering, yes, the order of where you put your effects on the master channel matter. So always put it at the bottom. So with that being said, here's the final beat.
Hey, go ahead, Infinite.
And with that being said, that's going to conclude this video. My name is Devin, also by Infinite or Pop by Infinite. Sounds linked in the description, also on the pinned comment.